every day is different, every video is different, but my passion will always be the same. This is Kai from Warsaw, aka Stormboy 13, and the storm has arrived. Wow! Hi guys, it's Stormboy 13. That's right, another video out for you tonight. This time, there's no actual... What the heck, are those birds loud or what? They're not often this crazy. They're absolute nightmare. I can't do a vlog like this in this bracket. Now in this video, obviously, I'm not filming any extreme weather because we haven't had any, apart from just raining all day. But what the video is going to be about is just a recap of the last, until today, the last 5 days of unusual thunderstorms, widespread thunderstorms all across the UK. As well as why was there so many constant thunderstorms in the same places in the UK for several consecutive days in a row? Well, I've got the answer to you right away. And I'm so close to be heading to a different area because I don't think I can do any more vlogging with those, I think it's crows or whatever. They're just trying to disrupt my filming. Anyways, let's begin the video. So firstly, as we know, particularly from Saturday the 13th to Wednesday the 17th of June, the United Kingdom had quite an extraordinary spell of thunderstorms affecting, particularly in central and western areas of the UK, where some places have seen 5 days in a row of thunderstorms, and I'm not kidding, in our area we've had close to that number. But here's the main question. Why was there so many thunderstorms in such a short space of time in the UK? Well, I'm going to answer your question right away. So basically, it's all to do with the jet stream. Now, obviously, when a jet stream is further north, we usually get spells of high pressures, particularly in summer months, where the conditions are settled, it'll be warmer, and obviously there's very little rain around. But when the jet stream is further south, normally that steers low pressure systems, and that brings in a lot of rain, and sometimes even in summer some pretty strong winds as well. But we didn't actually have any of those. What happened was we've had low pressure forming around Mediterranean Europe, between around France and Spain, and because we were on the winds were coming from the right side of the low pressure, so it sucks up warm winds as it comes from a anti-clockwise direction that scooped up warm humid air from mainland Europe, and headed right in the direction of the UK. But because it was low pressure, obviously doesn't mean dry weather, it just brought up so much energy to scoop up with these quite intense thunderstorms. And because it was, well, the winds was also light, and it was also because of a cut-off of low pressure, and sometimes when we get a cut-off, it doesn't move very much. There's very little to move the systems about, so that's why we've just had constant storms for days after days. Now obviously it's changed a bit now, and we're probably finally going to steer the cut-off low pressure out the way. But because what happened was, when we get a cut-off, we know that it doesn't move very much, and the winds were light as well. That's what also happens when we get a cut-off low. The jet stream breaks apart, you get very little wind about, because that's why you also get wind with the jet stream. And basically there was just... And also because when it's light wind, you can get like different kind of direction. You still get the warm, humid feel, but whenever you get those low pressure feels and then you get those thunderstorms, it just drops the temperature then a lot, and you can get a lot of lightning. So that's why, particularly in central and western areas, it's just been a complete washout. It even explains why it was so humid as well, because when we get low pressure, it also, when we get wet air mixed in with warm air, it actually feels a lot more uncomfortable, because basically if you're out on a humid day, chances are you will get soaked pretty much later on during the day. And that was exactly the case for many parts of the UK. Eastern areas didn't actually get, in fact particularly eastern coast, particularly around parts of Lincolnshire, they didn't get very much storms at all compared to like western parts of the UK, for example Manchester. Basically, because it came from a southeasterly direction, most of the storms was particularly focused in the opposite direction, let's say to the northwest of the UK. So that's why not many parts of eastern areas didn't get as much storms. Now, let's say for example we get low pressure and we get winds coming from a west or southwesterly direction, it's most likely the storms will be focused further east, and there's not as many storms further west. It's all to do with the wind direction. Now obviously maybe a bit different in the southern hemisphere, but maybe that'll be for another video. But that is why western areas had a very wet 5 days ahead. Central areas also have parts of the wet weather as well. So let's go into more depth day by day with these thunderstorms. Now on first of the 5 days, Saturday the 13th of June, back 6 days ago, this is first day today. Actually, I think it was probably the quietest out of the 5 days, obviously or not. And it was also out of the 5 days in my area, we didn't get any storms at all. I don't think we even heard any thunder. But there was a narrow band of thunderstorms started to form, and it wasn't actually until late afternoon as well, which is a little bit surprising because we didn't had any thunderstorms across the UK until at least 5 PM. Basically, it started forming just to the southwest of London and then moved completely up to the direction to Liverpool. It was in a narrow band, like either side of the thundery band of rain was actually quiet and mainly storm-free, and there was plenty of sunshine. It was also a warm day. But from the band of thunderstorms from the west of London, it moved northwestwards towards Birmingham. Birmingham was really badly affected that day, and then parts of western Manchester up to northwest England. Liverpool had a spectacular lightning storm on the first night. But interestingly, I think about 10 to 15% of the UK population saw those thunderstorms that day. Many places didn't see actually a lot of storms. That changed though by day 2. On Sunday the 14th of June, the storms were a bit more widespread, mainly focused again for central and western areas. Eastern parts of England actually had a storm-free day, which meant London didn't have any thunder or lightning, but the storms were very much concentrated, particularly across parts of Northern Ireland, northwest England, and of course the Midlands. And yep, where I was, we had a bit of a thunderstorm. Well, we had 2 storms, but both of them wasn't quite overhead, although we did have some interesting lightning strikes on the first storm. But not a huge amount of rain fell, but again, western parts of the UK had a lot of rain. Again, particularly across northwest England and Northern Ireland, there was a washout that day. By Monday the 15th, obviously the storms really got more fired up. Again, similar places, maybe a little, there were more scattered storms further east, and parts of London again had some isolated thunderstorms. But again, parts of Northern Ireland, well actually no, most of Northern Ireland, or Republic of Ireland, and again parts of northwest England and across the Midlands, it was another very, very wet day. And then Leicester on Monday night, which is also in the East Midlands, had some massive thunderstorms Monday night, just after sunset time. It was a spectacular moment. And we actually had a nighttime lightning, well not really, we had a heat lightning storm about 20 miles away from our location, but it was just, all we just saw was a few flashes of lightning from this cumulonimbus cloud, and then it just drifted away to the southwest. And then, and actually, other than that, we didn't have any storms at all on that Monday. Western areas were worst, unfortunately. Now, Tuesday the 16th, I think the 4th day was probably one of the worst days in terms of so much thunderstorms. The storms were a bit more, maybe slightly shifted east towards most of England, which meant Northern Ireland didn't get as much storms. Parts of Scotland had some thunderstorms, but it was a washout. That will be a day I won't forget. I was in Loughborough that day. Centrally, well actually no, nearly all of England, apart from the extreme eastern coast, had a complete washout. There was widespread thunderstorms. The humidity was much greater that day, which meant any short periods of humid sunshine will just completely trigger off some potentially quite violent thunderstorms. So a lot of flooding in places. So I wouldn't have been surprised there were a few funnel clouds as well that day because of a sudden drop in temperature with those thunderstorms. But again, because the winds were so light, you had very little to move these beasts of storms, if you would like to say. And basically, once again, many places, let's say Gloucestershire, Northampton, Manchester was really badly affected, and again Birmingham was as well, and then of course Southern Midlands, particularly around, like I said, was in the Loughborough area on Tuesday 16, which is just north of Leicester. It was a washout. North Midlands probably had a slightly drier day, and then we had another mini lightning storm Tuesday night, but it again focused in parts of Leicester, and then by the time it reached slightly further north in the Midlands, it died out. Now finally, by the time we got into Wednesday the 17th of June, the final day, which was yesterday, it was another repeat performance. I think maybe slightly focused more of the Midlands. The storms weren't quite as widespread everywhere else, particularly in southern areas of England and maybe parts of northwest England. So where we were, it was another washout day with Nottingham, particularly parts of Nottingham, northwest Nottingham, were in a complete deluge with so much water, with the winds particularly light, very little to move around these storms. It just lasted for hours upon end and just giving away up to 25 to 50 millimeters rain, that's up to an inch or two in quite a few localized places. And as of today, well, it's barely any lightning in the area because we've had a band of rain and it completely cut off the humid airflow, so that's why it was a much quieter day today. And that's all I can say, is it's just been an extraordinary run over 5 days. Normally when you get day after day of thunderstorms, we get a complete cut-off low. That doesn't actually often happen. Sometimes we may get a day or two, but 5 days in a row, that's quite extraordinary. Which, even that, for the UK, any time of the year, is just quite remarkable. But anyways, that is it. I mean, I don't know how often this would occur, but probably about once every 4 or 5 years maybe. But then, in terms of 5 thunderstorms in a row for certain locations, probably even once every couple of decades. So that was sure quite an extraordinary event to remember. But anyways guys, that is it for this video. The next video is going to be about the UK outlook for July 2020. I can't promise you it's going to be a record-breaking heatwave again for next month ahead. It's certainly unlikely, but you never know. I will come up with all the information up to you from this next video. And other than that guys, like, comment, subscribe, and stay safe, and I will see you in the next video. Storm is now out. Oh, also, before you go, just in case you didn't skip a couple of seconds before the video actually ends, be sure to check out all 4 of my links of the storms that I've recorded, particularly the Loughborough one. Certainly you wouldn't want to miss that one. And other than that guys, like I said before, storm's now out.